My wife and I have been together for 5 years now. We have a toddler and we were planning to expand our family. I decided to tidy up my wife's closet because of a mold problem in the garage, and I decided to inspect the whole house. There I found a gym bag with clothes, some dry fruits, some tampons and about $1,000. I asked my wife about it and her face suddenly lost colour. At first she told me it was just an emergency bag in case an earthquake or something hit us. I asked her why did she hide it from me then. After some back and forth, she sheepishly confessed it was a go bag. Basically, women who need to flee their abusers are told to keep a go bag with all essential supplies like money and clothes and stuff. I asked her why she ever felt the need to do this. I've never even talked to her in a loud voice, we barely have arguments. Why does she think that I'm going to become an abuser? She said she wasn't saying I was an abuser, she just wanted to do it for the peace of her mind. I don't buy her excuse, I don't think she trusts me. Otherwise she wouldn't have gone so far. I took some days to mull it over and I've come to the conclusion that I can't be with a woman who can't trust me and who sees me as an abuser. I asked her for separation and told her that I couldn't be with a woman who didn't trust me. I believe that trust is the foundation of a relationship, and if she doesn't trust me, then it's better we part ways. Now she's making excuses that she read too many mommy forums and let herself be influenced by them. She showed me the forums discussing go bags and how every woman should have one. I get the logic, but I can't stay with a woman who doesn't trust me to know that she never needed to do such a thing. I agreed to take more time to think about it, but I think divorce will let her find a man she trusts not to be an abuser because she doesn't trust me. Am I the idiot? Dude, you're gonna jump straight to divorce because your wife has a go bag? Maybe some counseling first? You are the idiot. Does she have a history of toxic relationships? Because it's all good and he would never do that until he does. I don't have a go bag, but I will tell you I always have my keys readily accessible and I think through exactly how I'd get out of a building or situation. Not because I believe or assume that a man might snap, but that I know he can. This was my first thought too. If she's been in a toxic relationship, even if she didn't disclose that to him out of shame, it makes so much sense. Or if someone close to her had been, etc. It's a very valid fear and makes sense like a prenup. If I ever got into a relationship again, I'd have a go bag and copies of my important documents stored in a safety deposit box, and I would never tell my SO about it. Does that mean I don't trust this hypothetical SO? Nope. The fact that I got to the point I was living with someone else would be a massive sign of trust. But once burned, always wary. I thought everyone had a go bag, lol. There's a million reasons to have one, guy or girl. If my fiancée had a go bag, I wouldn't care. She has plenty of weird quirks that would give her peace of mind over many things. OP's extreme reaction here makes me wonder if we're missing information about how he interacts with her. Abusers tend to overreact and paint themselves as the victim when they're called out on their behaviour. OP, it sounds like you've found an excuse to leave her. So what if she has a go bag? It doesn't mean she doesn't trust you. More than likely, she read something and she and her girlfriends think it's a good thing to do. It sounds like you're the one who doesn't trust her. Honestly, I don't get why looking for mold requires you open up any bags you find. Dude, you were snooping. I think you're jumping from looking for mold to leaving your wife and child because you found your wife's go bag proving she needs it. We just bought a property that had been abandoned. We visited the place a few times before we had it totally renovated to get an idea of what we wanted to be done and talk about it with our contractor. During those visits, we brought our kids. They would explore while we looked at things. While they were exploring, they found a hidden stash of treasure hidden. We assumed the previous owner's kids must have left it. It had little knickknacks and toys that a kid might collect. There was also a diary that a child had written in, as well as some cash, about $370 with change. My wife and I decided to let them keep the treasure they found. They were excited about it. It's not like we had any chance of returning it to the owner since this house hadn't been lived in for over a decade, and whoever lived there previously was long gone. We weren't around much at the house while the renovation was happening. They're done now though, so we've started moving in. Our distant neighbour who lives on the other side of the wooded area behind our property came to visit us. He asked if anyone had found the stash. Apparently his daughter used to sneak into the house and she was the one who hid the treasure there. I didn't tell him that my kids had found it several months ago and that they threw a lot of it away or it had gotten lost by now, but I told him I would check. True enough, my kids didn't have much of the treasure anymore or didn't know where it was. My daughter still had the diary because it was a fancy one she liked, and it still had a lot of empty pages. I got her to agree to give it back as long as she could rip out her pages first. My wife did rip them out very carefully, but there weren't many pages left because our daughter had used up many of them. There were still the original pages the neighbour girl had written, so I thought I might as well offer that back. It was not well received though, because it was fairly clear my daughter had read the pages as she'd left comments about things. This made things awkward since there was stuff in there about the neighbour girl's crushes. The neighbour's wife was all up in arms because we let our daughter read her daughter's diary and write comments. My wife had skimmed through the thing when it was first found, and there was nothing too scandalous in there for a kid to read, so we didn't see a problem with it. The neighbours said it was obvious it was a problem since we'd ripped out our daughter's pages so she could keep her entries private. I do think it's a little different though, because we'd originally thought it was an old diary of someone long gone, and people read old diaries all the time. The money was another issue because it was apparently money that the neighbour's daughter had been saving up from birthdays and Christmas and chores for years, so they want us to pay it back. Our kids have spent all the money already. Honestly, I don't feel like we should have to pay them back the money. It isn't an insignificant amount of money, and everything inside became ours when we bought the house. I also feel like they shouldn't have let their daughter hang out in an abandoned house. Did you tell the neighbours that maybe it's a bad idea for their daughter to wander around in an abandoned property and house? Where was this stash found? In the house or on the exterior property? You're not the idiot, but I empathise with the neighbour's daughter. But like, the house had been abandoned for a decade. You've been renovating and in and out of the house for months. How did you know it was the neighbour's kid infringing on private property? I didn't tell them about their daughter going into an abandoned house. It was all found inside a drawer in a closet in one of the bedrooms. I guess maybe they noticed us moving in. My kids found it about 5 months ago, so it's at least that old. Oh, then it's 100% yours. Not even an old shed in the backyard or some hole she dug in the ground. She trespassed, and now she's learned a life lesson. The kid obviously enjoyed exploring and spending time in there. I probably would have gone in myself if I were her. I have sympathy for her having to learn a costly lesson, but it's a lesson she won't forget. My dad used to clean houses for my grandpa between buying and selling, and that stuff is what we in the business call loot. If you leave something in a house when it's bought or sold, it belongs to the person or company that buys it. OP, you have no obligation to return the money. Let's be practical. Legally and even ethically, you may be in the right. But is $370 worth destroying your relationship with the next-door neighbours, and maybe everyone in the neighbourhood if they're friendly with that crew already? I would give them a check for the money and try to make amends. $370 is a small amount for harmony with the neighbours. My sister-in-law got married to my brother a couple of months back. My brother has been consistently helpful to me and my family. I have 4 kids under 10. Since he got married, my sister-in-law moved to our province and she has no friends or family here. We're the only connection they have here. Moreover, she doesn't do any jobs right now as she's settling in the city. Sometimes I ask my brother to babysit my kids and he does it without hesitation. So whenever we were busy with work or out of town, sister-in-law used to babysit the kids. She was great with kids, but the problem started a week ago. She refused to babysit the kids at all. Whenever we ask, she says no as it is. The kids are uncontrollable sometimes. Then I asked them during a call with my brother and sister-in-law if she was at home free and without a job, why can't she do it? Then the conversation got heated and she said she wasn't there for babysitting jobs. After this incident, we haven't called each other in a long time and I don't know how to approach them. Am I the idiot to expect my sister-in-law to babysit my kids? You are the idiot. Free babysitting is a blessing and should be treated as such. I'm a nanny and I've been paid $22 an hour with PTO and insurance. You've avoided paying that for this long, which is excellent, but you expect it to be awful. Childcare is expensive. You wouldn't know that because you have a family of people who have historically dropped everything to do free labor for you. You need to get a grip on reality. Not having a job doesn't mean you're entitled to her time, and it says a lot about you that you think it does. They don't have to if someone doesn't want to hang out with your kid. They don't need a reason. You have 4 kids. That's a lot for even a professional. You'd be looking at thousands of dollars in childcare fees if you didn't have a family that would do it for free. You need to remember that and treat them with some more respect. And not a single word about what OP is doing for the sister-in-law. Family support is a one-way street with the OP. I'd be so angry if I moved somewhere new, was actively looking for a job and trying to build connections, and was instead stuck looking after 4 kids. OP, your entitlement is something else. They are your kids. You chose to have a kid 4 times. That is your responsibility, no one else's, besides the father. Period. I, female 19, had a baby girl a few weeks ago. My fiancé and I decided to take some time off by ourselves to bond with our baby by ourselves, and also so I could heal a little. Neither of our families has yet met our baby, so we let them meet her this week. Our parents and my 2 older brothers came. One of them is married, his wife, 32, and him have 2 kids, toddler and kindergartner. So I admit that the first week was especially hard. I found it particularly hard to find a comfortable position to nurse. My baby wouldn't latch correctly and it hurt. You name it. But now I got better at it. My fiancé and I are trying to teach our baby to take the bottle, just in case, but so far she hasn't shown any interest in it. She starts crying and refuses to nurse with the bottle, so I'm exclusively breastfeeding her. Well, all of this is to say that when our families visited us, my sister-in-law started being very annoying about it. She kept telling me that the way I was holding my baby was wrong, the way I was laying her was wrong, that she shouldn't latch like that. I was very annoyed at her during the visit because all kinds of stuff started adding up. She asked me about pumping and if I'd tried. I said that I have to pump sometimes, but that usually we either drink the milk, which by the way she said it was nasty, or that I would throw it to the sink since my baby doesn't want to feed if it's not from my breast. She told me that it was because I was doing it wrong. She said I must pump and force my baby to drink it by not giving in. Let her be hungry until she uses the bottle. She said that she did that for her kids and that a bottle was best because my breast would look bad afterward if I let my baby breastfeed all the time. I told her I won't do that since I won't let my baby go hungry. She said she was helping since I knew nothing, and I very clearly needed the help because I'm a child with a child. Well, she had been annoying me all day and I snapped at her. I asked her who she thought she was. She's not a better mom just because she's older than me. I think she's worse since she's admitted letting the kids go hungry. We argued because she was very offended by what I said. Everyone was trying to calm us down, but then she said my brother was right and I was a spoiled brat who thinks I know better than anyone else. I was kind of shocked because that means that my brother is talking behind my back. So I got even more upset and I told her that both of them are bitter, sad people, and my fiancé then kicked them out. I've got some time to calm down now, so I'm wondering if I went too far. Maybe I should have said thanks to her advice and let it go. Perhaps my hormones and the lack of proper sleep were getting to me, and what I did was wrong. Not the idiot. Basically, let her be hungry until she uses the bottle. That would be child abuse. Sister-in-law is a terrible mother and was giving unsolicited advice. I was your age when I had my first, but I chose not to breastfeed. You got this. It's she who owes you an apology. Actually, you are doing nothing wrong, and what you told her is right. She was actually wrong with everything she told you. You don't force your baby by letting them go hungry. Your breasts will be fine. I think she's probably jealous. I'd reach out to your brother if it's bothering you and talk to him. Also, tell him if they visit, no advice. You sound like you're on top of things and doing a great job. Don't ever let anyone talk to you like that again. That wasn't advice. They were insults veiled as advice. Congratulations on your baby. Recently, my daughter, pre-tween, had a health scare that required her to stay in the hospital for 5 days for tests. Fortunately, it was something smaller and not as scary as we feared. My daughter needed an adult to stay with her all day and night at the hospital. Only one visitor in the room from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. My husband can't be with my daughter all day because his job demands a lot, and we have our other son to take care of, tween. So we decided that I would be with my daughter all day. During his lunch hour, he stayed with us from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. My sister and I are close. She's my daughter's godmother, and I have no doubt about her love for my daughter. She and my husband have disagreements and are not that close, but nothing major. When my sister heard the news, she sent a message saying that she would like to help me stay with my niece, and I said that I didn't need it. She asked if she could visit during her lunch, which coincides with my husband's schedule. I said that my husband sees us at this time, but that she would be welcome at any time. She said she couldn't do it at a different time as she had to work, and asked if she and my husband could alternate a few days. I asked my husband about this, and he made it very clear that this was the only time he could and wouldn't give up, especially at such a stressful time. At the time, we didn't know it was something minor. I responded to my sister saying that, unfortunately, this schedule wouldn't work because of my husband, but she was welcome at any other time. She said that we were being unfair because she would also like to see her goddaughter at this delicate moment, and it wouldn't hurt to give her a little time. She mentioned that maybe he would think differently if it were anyone else. I was honest here, saying that this wasn't about her and that I would give preference to my husband when visiting, but she's free to go at other times, but if that's not possible, she'll have to respect that my husband comes first. She was unhappy and said that we could compromise on her spending some time with my daughter, but we decided to be selfish and not realize that other people who also love my daughter very much would like to have time to see her. In the end, she managed to leave work early one day and stay with us for 30 minutes, but to this day, 1 week later, she's still upset and avoiding long conversations with me. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. This is his daughter, not hers, and you're the child's mother. You both get to decide who is more needed there or who needs more time with the child during stressful situations. There's no way you could be the idiot in this at all, and your sister sounds like she feels entitled because she's the godmother, which is in no way okay. If your sister wanted to help you and your family, she would help with your son, who is not getting the same attention during this trying time. A parent is a more important relationship than an aunt. I'm glad you held your ground. I'm sure your husband felt bad enough only being able to be there for his wife and child in the limited time he had. Sister needs to get over herself.